here in the weighing room, Alexandra Empiricus just weighing in. She had a good ride. Here's Ron, dairy farmer from Somerset. When you come back to join us, Bill Smith and I will be going right through the thrills and the spills, the Martel Fox Hunters chase. So don't go away. Do join us after the news, who will be read by Moira Stewart.
Royal Navy officers have arrested the French trawler Calypso off Guernsey, and they've escorted it to St. Peter Port. It follows Sunday's incident when 3 Navy personnel were kidnapped by the vessel's crew. In a separate development, Royal Marines are to be stationed on fisheries protection vessels to enforce British fishing rights in the Channel Islands.
The arrest of Le Calypso comes after a day of high-profile patrolling by at least 2 British Navy vessels. The French boat has now been escorted into St. Peter Port Harbour under close escort from HMS Jersey, which sent a boarding party of 5 to make the arrest. 2 more Navy personnel kept a close watch on the Calypso from a dinghy which followed closely in its wake. The French crew has now been transferred onto HMS Brocklesby, where they'll be questioned.
Conservative-led Wandsworth Council has failed in its bid to get a High Court injunction blocking a teacher's boycott of national curriculum tests and assessments. A judge ruled that the Schoolmasters and Women Teachers Union did not have a statutory duty to implement the curriculum. The leader of Wandsworth Council says that it might appeal. The secretary of the NASUWT, Nigel de Grucci, said the decision was a stunning victory.
Good news for all teachers, because it will enable them to follow the NASUWT lead, to liberate themselves from this absurd, excessive bureaucratic nightmare, and it will enable all teachers, all those who join the NASUWT, as well as those in membership, to concentrate on teaching in the classroom.
The 24-hour rail strike has virtually shut down the entire network, but the predicted chaos on the roads hasn't materialised. Miners have been on strike today too, in protest at the government's pit closure programme.
Support by rail workers for the strike has been solid. The only trains that ran were on a line into London, where drivers and signalmen are not members of the RMT. Elsewhere, tracks were silent and stations deserted. British Rail says it will cost them £10 million. The Prime Minister condemned the strike as pointless.
All it's done is put millions of people to inconvenience. It's caused damage to commerce, damage to industry, and will have done no good to anyone.
I would say that the people who are on strike today are more in tune with public opinion than this government is.
The predicted chaos on the roads didn't happen. Many worked at home or staggered their journeys. But public opinion may be tested again soon. The rail unions won't rule out another strike next week. The miners too, who rallied in Barnsley this morning, believe they have public sympathy. Their 24-hour action has closed all but 13 pits. But both miners and rail workers know that the public's patience can quickly wear thin.
The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Norman Lamont, has said that nearly every economic indicator over the last month has pointed to recovery. Speaking today at the Council of Mortgage Lenders, the Chancellor said that business confidence has now returned, and he said there can be no doubt that the housing market will revive as the economy picks up. That's it for now. More news at 6 o'clock on BBC1.
Hello there. If you've been watching the racing, you'll have seen the umbrellas going up at Aintree. Quite a few showers around in the west, and some showers beginning to show up now on the weather radar a little bit further east. There could well be some heavy showers around this evening, perhaps a rumble of thunder, but the tendency will be for those showers to die away quickly after dusk. Cloud thickening in the west overnight, bringing some rain with it, some heavy bursts of rain, eventually getting into the West Country, Wales, across Northern Ireland, into southwestern Scotland by the end of the night. Further to the east, underneath clear skies, a little bit of mist in the river valleys, perhaps even the odd fog patch, and there could be a touch of frost as well. Tomorrow that rain will make very, very slow progress eastwards through the day. Brighter, showery weather beginning to come in from the west, and that's the forecast.
This is BBC2 in the north. Now Northwest Today with Christine Talbot.
Good afternoon. Merseyside police have launched a murder inquiry following the discovery of a woman's body on a beach at Ainsdale near Southport. The body was found partially buried under the sand yesterday. Police have so far been unable to identify the victim.
A man walking his dog along the beach yesterday evening found the woman's partially clothed body. She'd been strangled, and police say deliberate efforts had been made to conceal the body in the sand dunes. It's not clear how long the body had been there. There are few clues to the woman's identity. The victim was aged between 25 and 40, slim with brown hair. She was wearing a distinctive Zico watch with a dinosaur on the face. Police are checking missing persons files and asking for anyone with any information to come forward.
A man said to be the leader of a gang which plotted to smuggle millions of pounds worth of cocaine into Moss Side has escaped while being taken to Manchester Crown Court for sentencing. 34-year-old Stephen Mee and another man got away when a prison van was stopped by a number of men who claimed to be armed. Mee has been sentenced in his absence to 22 years in prison. 4 other men involved in the plot were given sentences of between 15 and 9 years. Rail services in the northwest are at a standstill today as a result of the national strike by the RMT union. Colin Sykes reports.
Although traffic was heavier than usual on some motorways, the expected travel chaos didn't happen this morning. As railway stations throughout the northwest remained closed, commuters either stayed at home or travelled in by car or bus. In Liverpool, extra ferries were put on and traffic through the tunnels was heavy, but there were no major problems. Greater Manchester Police say the delays were minimal, and the AA, which monitored problems from its northern headquarters in Stockport, said many drivers had heeded advice and either staggered journeys or stayed at home.
A man who fell from the 22nd floor of a tower block onto a car walked away with only minor injuries. Christopher Saggers plunged 220 feet from a flat at the top of Fitzwarren Court in the Pendleton area of Salford late last night. He hit a Nissan Micra car parked below, completely crushing the vehicle. Witnesses told how 35-year-old Mr. Saggers picked himself out of the wreckage and walked off. He's now being treated in hospital for a fractured elbow. And the weather. Showers will die out this evening to leave the early part of the night clear. Top temperatures today of 9 degrees Celsius, falling to 1 degree Celsius overnight. That's all from us for now. We'll be back with Northwest Tonight at 6:30 on BBC1.
The Academy Award-winning Amadeus. Genius.
Mozart, you are not the only composer in Vienna.
But I'm the best.
Jealousy.
Too many notes? Yes. Oh, just cut a few and it'll be perfect.
Revenge.
I will block you. I swear it. One day I will laugh at you. Before I leave this earth, I will laugh at you.
Amadeus, tomorrow at 9 on BBC2.
Now on BBC2, it's back to Aintree and Richard Pittman.
Welcome back. We're all still buzzing with excitement after that great spectacle in the last race, the Martel Fox Hunters Chase. Just a reminder of the finishing order. Double Silk completed the Cheltenham-Liverpool double, 5-2 favourite. Dark Dawn, a spirited challenge, not quite good enough, second at 7-1. And Mandraki Shuffle, 33-1, quietly fancied by some good female judges I met here today. So, that is the result. Now down in the winners' enclosure, Patrick Martel, president of Martel, presented this trophy, a much coveted one, to Reg Wilkins, who owns and trains this horse. What pride he must have to be able to see this fellow every morning and now see him doing his stuff in the afternoon. We want to know is what the latest betting is it going to stay the same, and will the weather determine it? In the Weather Centre, Peter Krotkoff can tell us what's going to happen here.
Hello there, Richard. Well, a bit of a clue behind me. We've been keeping an eye on the weather up there in Aintree today, and on the weather radar I've been seeing some showers around, and certainly the umbrellas have been going up and down. But for tomorrow, for the important race, it's out to the Atlantic that we've got to look for the weather, and quite a dark band of clouds showing up there, and that's going to bring some rain. Not good news for the Gooser. I think Brollies and Boots the order of the day. Some heavy bursts of rain around by the afternoon. 80% chance of rain, so it's 4-1 on for rain, and there'll be some softening of the ground. Now, the weather team's tip is Nos Naguir, which apparently translates to like the wind, but we're a bit at odds with John Ketley. His topical tip is Romany King.
Yes, Peter, well, one of you will be right, or more probably you'll all be right, because you'll have a good day. But with me, Mike Dillon, now, how will that weather change affect things?
I don't think it'll affect things much, Richard, because I think of the 5 races run today, we've had 4 track records already. So the ground is obviously riding lightning fast. Now, I think it will only make a minimal change to the ground. I would think that Captain Dibble probably will be the housewife's choice. Skews on it. It's his 13th ride in the race, and maybe 13th is the lucky one for him. All the professional money is for Royal Athlete. He's so well handicapped in his Gold Cup run, although Mark has chosen Garrison Savannah, which in itself has brought some support for the horse. The professionals like him because of his handicap, Mark. But I think on the day that Captain Dibble, I mean, bear in mind that this is probably be the busiest day in the history of betting shops. Some £75 million will be bet tomorrow on the Grand National and the FA Cup semi-finals. So I think Captain Dibble will probably be the one.
Where are you going to put your money, Dilly, because you're a shrewdie?
I wouldn't say that, but I like Garrison Savannah. I mean, he likes the fast ground. I think you need a good horse here to keep out of trouble. He jumped terrifically well here in 1991 when he was second. I think he comes here with a better preparation than he did in 91. He would have beaten Royal Athlete had he not made the mistake at Cheltenham, and I think Mark has chosen right.
Right, Mike, thanks very much indeed.